Your water is better. That's what she said. Like it was a compliment. Like she wasn't standing there, admitting she'd been taking something that wasn't hers. I had just come back from checking the back of my property when I noticed it again. The pressure in my outdoor water line felt off. Not completely gone, but weaker than it should have been. At first, I thought it was just the system, maybe a minor leak or sediment buildup. But this was the third time that week. So I followed the line, all the way along the side fence, and that's when I saw it. A hose. Not mine. Connected directly to my outdoor spigot, running straight through a small gap in the fence, into my neighbor's yard. I stood there for a second, just looking at it, trying to decide if this was really happening. Because people don't just do this. Not in a normal neighborhood. Not openly. But then I heard movement on the other side. Water splashing. Someone humming. So I walked around to the front and knocked on her door. She opened it like nothing was wrong, like this was just another normal day. Yes, she said, already sounding annoyed. I kept my tone calm. There's a hose connected to my water line, running into your yard. She didn't even blink. Oh, that, she said casually. That. Like she was talking about borrowing sugar. You've been using my water? I asked. She shrugged. Well, yours is better. I just stared at her. Better? For my roses, she said, pointing toward her yard like that explained everything. They're very sensitive. For a moment, I thought she might be joking, but she wasn't smiling. You connected a hose to my property without asking, I said. Yes, but it's just water, she replied. It's not like I'm stealing something valuable. That's when I realized something important. She didn't see anything wrong with this. To her, this wasn't theft. It was convenience. I took a slow breath. Disconnect it, I said. She crossed her arms. I will, when I'm done watering. No, I said firmly. Now. That's when her expression changed. Slight irritation turned into full attitude. You don't need to be difficult, she snapped. It's just a little water. I looked at her for a long second, then said something simple. It's mine. That didn't sit well with her. You people move in and act like you own everything, she muttered. I almost laughed. I do own this, I said. That's the point. She rolled her eyes. Fine, I'll disconnect it later. I didn't argue. I didn't raise my voice. I just nodded. All right, and then I walked away. But I didn't go back inside. I went straight to the side fence, and I turned off the water, immediately. The sound of running water stopped, and about 5 seconds later, I heard it. Hey! Her voice, loud, angry, footsteps rushing across her yard. Then she appeared at the fence opening. Why did you turn it off? She snapped. I looked at her calmly. Because it's my water. Her face tightened. I wasn't finished. That's not my problem. She stepped closer. You're being petty. I shrugged. You're being entitled. That hit her harder than anything else. For a second, she didn't say anything. Then she pulled the hose out of the connection roughly, dragging it back into her yard. Fine, she said. Keep your precious water. I watched her walk away, and for a moment, I thought that was the end of it. It wasn't, because later that night, when I went outside to check something, I noticed something strange. The hose was gone, but the connection point, it had been tampered with, slightly loosened, like someone had tried to adjust it, and that's when it clicked. She wasn't done, not even close, because people like her don't stop when you say no. They just get smarter about how they take, and over the next few days, that's exactly what happened. My water usage started going up, slowly at first, then noticeably, enough that it showed on the meter, but every time I checked, there was no hose, no obvious connection, nothing. Until one morning, I decided to check the line more carefully. I followed it further than before, past the fence, past the bushes, and that's when I found it. A hidden splitter, installed directly into my line, camouflaged behind shrubs, with a thin hose, running underground, straight into her garden. And that's when I realized something important. This wasn't casual anymore. This was planned, deliberate. And if she wanted to be that creative, then I was going to be even more creative. Because if she wanted my water so badly, I was going to give her something she'd never forget. I didn't confront her again. Not after I found the hidden splitter. Because at that point, this wasn't a misunderstanding anymore. It was intentional. She had gone out of her way to tap into my water line, hide it, and keep using it without me noticing. That told me everything I needed to know. Talking wasn't going to fix this, so I stopped talking and started planning. The first thing I did was leave everything exactly as it was. I didn't remove the splitter, didn't block the hose. I let her keep using it, because if you want to catch someone in the act, sometimes you let them think they're getting away with it. Over the next few days I watched, not obviously, not directly, but enough to understand her routine. Early morning watering, late afternoon watering, and every single time, that hidden line was active. Her roses, they were thriving, bright, perfect, overwatered if anything. She'd even started showing them off. I overheard her talking to another neighbor one afternoon. "I finally figured out the right water balance," she said proudly. I almost laughed. Yeah, she figured it out, just not the way she thought. That's when I decided it was time, not for confrontation, for a lesson. The next morning, I made a small adjustment to my system. Nothing dramatic, nothing destructive, just a controlled change. I installed a safe, non-harmful garden treatment into my irrigation line, something commonly used in landscaping to identify water flow and treat soil conditions. Completely legal, completely harmless to people, pets, and plants in proper amounts. But it had two very noticeable side effects. First, it tinted the water slightly, a faint purple hue. And second, it had a strong organic smell. Not toxic, not dangerous, just unpleasant, very unpleasant. Then I turned the system back on and waited. It didn't take long. By mid-morning, I heard it, a scream. "What is that smell?" I stepped outside casually, right on cue. She was standing in her yard, hose in hand, looking absolutely horrified. Her garden was soaked, and her once perfect roses now had a faint purple tint, leaves, petals, even the soil, all slightly off. And the smell? There was no ignoring it. "What did you do?" she shouted the moment she saw me. I walked over calmly. "Do what?" "My garden, my roses. Look at this." I glanced at them. "Yeah, I see it. They're ruined," she yelled. I tilted my head slightly. "Are they?" She stepped closer. "The water smells. It's discolored." I nodded slowly. "Yeah, that happens sometimes." Her eyes widened. "Sometimes?" "With my water," I said. Silence, just for a second, because now it was starting to click. "You did this on purpose," she said. I shook my head. "No." Then I added calmly, "You connected to my system." That hit her, hard, because now she couldn't pretend anymore. You knew?" she stammered. I looked at her. "You hit a splitter in my line." Her face changed instantly. Panic. Real panic. "I was just saving your roses?" I finished. She didn't answer, because there was no good answer left. Instead, she tried to shift blame. "You contaminated your own water." I shrugged. "I treated my system." "For what?" she demanded. "Maintenance." Another pause, because now she was trapped in her own situation. She had taken something that wasn't hers, and now she was dealing with the result of it. "What am I supposed to do now?" she snapped. I looked at her garden again. "Stop using my water." That didn't calm her down. It made it worse. "This is going to cost me thousands," she said. I raised an eyebrow. "Then maybe you should have used your own supply." She stepped back, speechless, furious, embarrassed, all at once. And just when I thought it was over, she made the same mistake everyone like her makes. She escalated. "I'm reporting this to the HOA," she said. I nodded. "Go ahead." Because now, I actually wanted them involved. Because once they saw the full picture, this wasn't going to go the way she expected. Not even close. She didn't wait. By that same afternoon, she had already filed a complaint, and not a small one. According to the notice taped to my door, I was being accused of tampering with shared utilities and damaging neighboring property. I read it twice, then laughed, because now she had officially made this bigger than it needed to be. An HOA meeting was scheduled for the next morning. Mandatory attendance. I showed up early. Not because I was worried, but because I wanted to see how this played out. The room filled quickly, board members, a few curious neighbors, and then she walked in, still angry, still confident. But there was something different now, a slight edge of panic, because deep down, she knew. The HOA president called the meeting to order. "We've received a complaint regarding water contamination and property damage," he began. Then he looked at me. Would you like to respond? I nodded. Sure. Then I leaned back slightly. But I think she should go first. All eyes turned to her. Perfect. She stood up immediately. He deliberately contaminated his water supply, she said, pointing at me. And it destroyed my garden. Murmurs spread through the room. She kept going. My roses are damaged, the soil smells awful, and this is completely unacceptable. The president nodded slowly. All right. And how exactly did his water affect your garden? Simple question, but a dangerous one. Because now, she had to explain. She hesitated for just a second, then said it anyway. I was using his outdoor water line. The room went silent, completely silent, because she didn't even realize what she had just admitted. The president blinked. You were using his water? She froze, just for a second, then tried to fix it. Well, not exactly using, more like accessing. But it was too late. The damage was done. I reached into my folder and slid a photo across the table. The hidden splitter, clear as day, installed on my line, running into her yard. I found this 3 days ago, I said calmly. More murmurs, now louder. Because now, everyone could see it. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't shared access. This was theft. The treasurer leaned forward. Did you install that? He asked her. She didn't answer, because again, there was no answer that helped her. I also have usage records, I added. Then placed another document down. Water consumption logs. Spikes during her watering times. Drops when I shut the system off. Clear pattern. Clear proof. The president looked at everything carefully, then leaned back. Is this accurate? He asked her. She looked around the room, at the board, at the neighbors, and finally, at me. But there was nowhere left to go. I may have connected a line, she said quietly. That was it. That one sentence ended everything. Because now, there was no argument left, no accusation, no defense, just admission. The president took a slow breath. All right, he said, then looked at me. And the treatment you added? Standard irrigation maintenance additive, I replied. Non-toxic, within safe limits. He nodded. Used on your own system? Yes. Another nod. Then he turned back to her. You connected to a private water line without permission, he said. No emotion, just facts. And now you're claiming damages from using that same line. Silence. Because when you say it like that, it sounds exactly like what it is. The room shifted. People weren't neutral anymore. They were reacting. Quiet comments, shaking heads. Because now, they understood. She wasn't the victim. She caused the situation. The president closed the folder. This complaint is dismissed. Just like that. Done. But he wasn't finished. Additionally, he continued, unauthorized use of another resident's utilities is a violation of HOA policy. Her head snapped up. Wait. You'll be receiving a formal notice, he said, and you'll be responsible for any associated costs. That included everything. Water usage, system inspection, repairs, all of it. She didn't argue. She couldn't, because this time, there was proof, and witnesses, and consequences. The meeting ended shortly after. People filed out quietly, some glancing at her, others shaking their heads. By the end of the week, word had spread through the entire neighborhood, and not the version she wanted, the real version. A few days later, I checked my line again. The splitter was gone, the connection sealed. Exactly how it should have been from the start. And her garden? It didn't die. But it definitely wasn't the same. Faded color, lingering smell, a constant reminder, not of what I did, but of what she did to herself. Because in the end, I didn't ruin her roses. She did. The moment she decided, what was mine was hers to take. How did you like the story? Please comment and like, subscribe, and share my YouTube channel videos.